When it was first previewed back during the latter half of 2013, Titanfall largely received a positive response. After all, who doesn't like playing first-person shooters with free-running, double-jumping soldiers and massive mechs? Well, we recently got to have an extended second look at the game, spending several hours playing various game modes on the two existing maps that should be familiar to anyone that's been following the game. And after all that gaming, we're a little concerned that the final game may not quite live up to those initial expectations. But first, to recap, the game is a multiplayer only first-person shooter that is supposed to incorporate some standout moments that will be more like the campaign of a single-player game, though we've not really seen much of this part of the game yet. The core gameplay though consists of jetpack touting soldiers called pilots leaping about the place with their relatively light weaponry. Then every 2 minutes each player can call upon a massive mech suit called a Titan. Players can speed up their Titan's deployment by getting more kills and capturing more points. Once in your mech you're much slower and can't jump, but you're also much tougher and much more powerful. There's a little bit of variation in weapon types between different soldiers, and the Titans will have slightly tougher and slower and faster and lighter variations, but essentially that's the setup. Soldiers, Titans, fight. In terms of game modes, there'll be plain old deathmatch, point capture and Titan vs Titan, which is where each team starts off with each player in a Titan, and the loser is the team that has all its Titans destroyed first. Players can eject when their Titan is critically damaged, so they can fight on aiding the remaining Titans in their team. This core gameplay then is initially immensely good fun. The game is really slick with controls that take just minutes to get a handle on, which of course is crucial for all that free running and jumping. Then the first few times you call in your Titan are pretty satisfying too. However, with extended play we did start to find ourselves getting a bit restless. The first problem is that those titular Titans just aren't very much fun to use. They're slow and lumbering, and although powerful, they're not powerful enough. A crucial issue is that they can't damage buildings, so those nimble pilots can simply dodge around the corner and out of harm's way. It's a far cry from the sense of power you get when driving a tank in Battlefield, for instance. We also wish there were more options for what type of mech you can use. Again, comparing to Battlefield, it offers planes, helicopters, jet skis and tanks. The 3 slightly different Titans don't really cut it next to that lot. This is particularly troubling as the game ends up feeling like it's not really set in a true war. Here's an environment where mechs fall from the sky on demand, but there's no air support, artillery or any other war machines. It makes for a game that very definitely feels like sport rather than war. Part of the problem is it's clearly a game primarily made for consoles, with restrictions such as the removal of scoped weapons and the addition of things like the homing pistol that can shoot multiple targets at once. It's new and interesting, but doesn't actually allow for a very different style of play. It's a run and gun, run and gun, run and gun. Perhaps the biggest problem of all though is a limit of just 6 players per team. This has been done to allow for longer periods of time between players dying, as the bulk of troops on the map are cannon fodder AI controlled units called grunts, and they're very easy to kill. This is a noble effort to make the game easier for newcomers, and it ties in with the idea that this is part of a larger war. But ultimately, people play online because they want to play with and battle against other humans, friend and stranger alike. The end result then is a game that feels like it has taken all the best bits from many FPS games of the past and combined them all together in the hope of creating the perfect blend. However, because it's combined so many elements together, many of the subtleties of the original ingredients have been lost. It's a nondescript fruit smoothie rather than an individual perfectly ripe strawberry, as it were. All this said though, we've still only seen a couple of levels of the game, and not yet played with those new Titan classes, so there's still plenty of scope for Respawn Entertainment and EA to add in that nuance and depth that we feel the game needs. One thing's for sure, we still can't wait to see the full game.